Welcome, everyone. This is Karina SH'ha, and I am with Denali Norris. And once again, we are here in this beautiful heart space together and just feeling so much love and appreciation. It's like a real deepening feeling at my core, and I'm just so thankful to be here.
When I hear that, when I'm working with someone and I hear them say that, I'm so thankful to be here. And I know whatever occurred, whatever shift happened in them, and it's just a sign that it's permanent. It's complete. It's unified. It's whole. Because the next moment after the realization strikes, after the deepening, after first the first authentic movement is gratitude and appreciation, right? I'm sure you have this all the time too. Like you know it's real, and it's not important that I know it's real, but it's important that they know it's real, and that's how you know. It's like a wave and a flood. Maybe one of them is the wave and the other one's the flood, but it's both. It's gratitude and appreciation.
Yeah. And coming into my heart right now is acknowledgement for what is already here, that's being prepared already, like omnipresence. It's already here, and it's welcoming. And that's where the thanks and the gratitude is coming up for me, through the acknowledgement of what is already here, already welcoming. Yeah.
Next level I noticed after that, for me, the first time that I had that experience was that tears came then, and even went deeper. It was so thankful that the moment, God, Spirit, what I was experiencing, I was so thankful that it was patient and waited for me to notice.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've been not noticing for a long time.
Mm.
Where, in little bits and pieces, those things happen, but not this firm, seamless gratitude and appreciation for things exactly as they are, with no editing.
Mm-hmm. Or
Right?
preference.
Yeah, that's what makes it go so deep. Is there's absolutely no editor present.
Mm-hmm. So the message that was coming through was that love is its own reward. And I know that's a quote or a saying from someone. At this point, it's not registering for me, but it just um, unpacking that vibrational field, and letting just the breath of my being expand and also deepen. I think the last time we got together, we talked about that expansion and deepening and widening and opening and heightening.
Right.
Yeah, all of that in the resting and abiding in this present, this gift that opens, and then another gift opening, and another gift, just endlessly.
And all these, many spiritual symbols have that, like the snake eating itself. There's always this funnel with the tail of the funnel inside the main part of the funnel. And that's the experience here, is that the depth of your consciousness is how many times awareness has folded in on itself. Because if you go outside and you stand in front of a tree, that tree is more aware than most human beings. It's a tree being. It's just being a tree. It's not thinking, contemplating, wondering when it's going to rain, how deep its roots go, how high is the sky. It's just being, right?
It also doesn't have a name. Tree doesn't even, like, we gave it the name and then labeled it and gave it its species and genus and all that stuff. Yeah, it just is.
It just is, and it does not know itself. It's being seamlessly and fully without awareness of itself. And then when you come in front of it and you are looking at the tree, taking it in, feeling what it's like to be a tree, noticing the leaves, you're present with the tree. Now in that moment, the tree becomes aware of itself through you, the participation with the tree. So now awareness has folded in on itself. So to me, consciousness is awareness aware of itself. And then, it's like when they bake a croissant, it's like all these layers, right? There's these endless little layers when you pull a croissant apart. And it's so you can keep folding awareness on itself and on itself and on itself, and then it gives you the depth of your being. And it's a never-ending process, right? And it's happening in your soul, your personality, your humanness, the multidimensional aspects of yourself, all the way out to the universe has that same shape, has that same toroidal shape that also somehow is, it's always folding in on itself. It's like, it's like recycling, but it's recycling something that is never marred or touched. It's always pristine.
Yeah. Yeah. Through the breath in that, which is, there is the enfolding and unfolding, enfolded and unfolding.
In most of our experience with teachers, with books, with paths, they're very oriented towards one of those. They're very oriented towards an unfolding, which would be like a love path that's more and more and more creation. The unfolding of the universe, the creation of everything, or the infolding where it's all going back to the source, to what people call 0 point, or the void, or the emptiness, the stillness. And they're pointed really towards the in or the the out. And the experience here is both. If you're not aware of both of them, you're somewhat out of balance. There's a balance. There's more harmony to be had, right? There's a constant unfolding and infolding, or flow that's moving in like a black hole, and one that's spewing out like a white hole. And they both have the same center. And that center is your center. It's you. You're saying love is its own reward, right? So the black hole is taking in all of creation and it's breaking it down into its most elemental particles as it gets close to the center, where there's no There's nothing there. It's an empty space, but it's the most,
an
the most important force that exists, right? And on the other side, it's spewing out pure white light that is the creational force. It's the mother divine of making a whole new universe or whatever. And can you let your awareness rest and hold them both? Then love is its own reward, right? Because it's creating and destroying, and it's doing both with the same love. It's not a different love that destroys and creates. It's the same love that in one single act is doing them both.
Play my bowls. Universe, one song, song within the song within the song, the hum into complete stillness and silence, into the vacuum, and then flowing out in sound, vibration, the word, and then returning to stillness and silence. Figure 8. In the heart, we create that same vibrational field of awareness state, ananda or bliss, coherence, a scientific term to describe present sentiment, emotion that's based on past experiences, future desires. They're right here. The hum.
And like you said, the universe, which translates as one verse, this thing that we experience in our human bodies as vast beyond comprehension, is only one verse in an endless song, one hum, one vibration in an endless song with infinite verses. It wants to know every version of itself, right? So it sings every possible verse, and it is without end, and there's no gaps in between. And that's what we get to experience. And when I say that, even in my own mind, well, it's like, well, that's what we get to experience in the future through our living, but that's not how it really works. You get to experience it right now. It's all happening now.
This place is the point of our power, the point of, as we say, expansion and contraction. all at the same time, all levels, all being infinite, finite, measurement, non-measurement. But it's not duality. It's beyond that, beneath, above, within, because it's all within the all. And actually the ancient word or meaning for all was light. The word all is light.
Right. Yeah.
In the Aramaic language, all. So, and we don't need to broadcast out. We send within, because the God presence is residing within the within, and sends forth through us. Sending out, in a way, it's beautiful, but it's an invitation that we are still attempting to do rather than be, but sending in.
Mm-hmm.
Returns to the flow.
Yeah, this first possibility of even sending, right? This idea of sending or movement came with the formation of the Trinity. And every religion has this idea or concept and has names and symbols for them. And you say omnipresent, omniscient,
Potent.
omnipotent, right? The Christians have the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu. And the experience here was at some point you go beyond or before the Trinity. You go, they're just names that are written in the mirage also, right? So then you go to the source that those three originated from. And those three are all very unique, definite paths to our humanness as expressions to here. And they're all combined in our being, in our soul. But the three of them collapse at some point when you can hold them all three equally, and it just, and it collapses. And then they're, like you were saying, they're anything that has movement or an opposite or a being or non-being or doing or non-doing or sending or receiving, it's impossible, because there's just this, and it's just now, and it's just here. And between, this awakening or praying or doing yoga or any of these sort of actions that we take to purify our being, to join in with more, to step up the ladder of our multidimensional selves, at some point it all fails.
Mm-hmm.
It will ultimately fail. And if you cling to any one of those or see them as the way, they will become the hurdle that is in front of you. Right? We both had this experience many times. We're you're like having this big aha, and then you're setting that up as the next hurdle for yourself, not for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to get past that. It doesn't, that idea, that experience, that even
Dissolves.
Yeah, even when it's integrated,
Yeah.
it doesn't get to go with you. You don't get to take it to the next level, the next inward or outward expansion. It doesn't get to go. It has to stay. And the only part that gets to move through that, to me, is this very innocent part. It has this very quiet voice that won't clamor to be heard. It doesn't debate. It doesn't argue. It just knows, or it doesn't know. And that's its whole realm of being. Is it knowing or not knowing? And what it knows absolutely. And what it doesn't know in that particular moment, it knows that it's unavailable absolutely. And then that's all you have. But you're not desiring anymore.
So that's what it comes to mind for my expression is the immaculate presence, that which is, that which it just, there's just no words. There's no point. You can't
Right.
even, yeah. So because it's untouched. It doesn't dwell here or in any dimension. It is that which forms and unforms, dissolves and God does. It is. So there's just stop talking. So, yeah, I know what's the point?
Right. Right. So this is where all those parables come from. This is where all those pointers come from. The Zen poems, Zenless, poetry being spouted because
yeah, it points, right? It points to the thing that cannot be said or spoken, and it's like all pointing to that. And we say, well, what's that? Okay.
and it's only and it's pointing to itself.
Mm-hmm.
So when that dawns on you, when it finally, when there's enough resting, and like you said, at first you acknowledge what we're speaking of, this self, this gift that you are. You acknowledge it, and then you rest in it. And that means you've not quite merged with it. You've come to rest, and you are experiencing this peace and love that you're talking about at the beginning of this conversation. Is there's this peace beyond understanding and this deep love that's ever expanding and ever collapsing in on itself. But there's still movement. So you're resting in it. Then as they're relaxing, then you're resting as it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the resting as it becomes full, it's quieter, simpler, and there becomes an absoluteness. There's absolutely no movement, and it's absolutely homogeneous. It's absolutely just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing more that could be said without going into this sort of delirium. Like, you're like said, like you're just kind of spouting off like out of ecstasy or frustration or out of some movement to try to express to someone who's asking. And really, you can only just be it so resolutely and knowingly and not move from it, that resounding sovereignty and omnipresence and omniscient and omnipotent invites them to join you. And that's it. And so the most powerful sending is silence and stillness, that you do not move and do not speak. It's the most powerful. And that's like in the song you were just singing, in the speaking I'm doing, the one thing that's common in all of it is there's words and there's sounds and there's movement, but there's space between them that is silent.
Yes.
And that's what carries what's important. That's what carries what's valuable.
So on that note, shall we be silent and still?
Sure.
I'll just play the bowls quick to let the sound go through.
is coming up to say something about this sort of sitting together. And it's as everything becomes silent and still, what's noticed is that how alive everything is. It's so alive. There's so much potential in this sense of self. And so it narrows down to only having two categories. One is moving, and the other is not moving. And you can notice it's completely still and silent, completely absent of movement. But within that container, within that, everything is alive and moving. So it narrows down to this resting in and then as you're just having that experience without discerning between the two, you notice that they're one and the same thing. And then moving and non-moving are the same, and I disappear. And none of those levels of awareness or consciousness are better or more useful. They just are, and they just are available.
What is, as it is, as it has always been, as it always will be. Recognized in the movement of the dance, recognized as the stillness of the heart, indivisible, inviolable, immaculate, immutable, holy, wordless, speechless, silence in each breath. In between, the pause between, all things arise.
When you were speaking that, I was seeing people holding a book, and your words are always so very beautiful and poetic, and the book was just a small thing, and each page had one paragraph like that, and that's all. When it's that precise, when it's that potent, when it's that cutting, anything more than a paragraph is a distraction, because that's it. That's all you need. Our minds want more, but we need to discipline them and remind them that enough is enough. Something that precise and that it has the power to cut through everything and plant a seed. And in this moment, because it's the only moment that seed's already bearing fruit, so it plants the seed and it bears the fruit all in one.
Yeah, from the heart of all that is. There is this moment offered, enfolding and unfolding in beauty. Showing me an image of a child first born and gazing into its eyes, the mother, the father, and then it passes to the grandmother and grandfather, and they say, "Look at you, so brand new, never to be born, never to die, just always, always here, in our eyes, our heart. This is love."
Beautiful. If you haven't gone to Karina's website, you should do that. It's filled with really beautiful words, and her Facebook, and very beautiful images. You can see some of them on the wall behind her, but you'll be amazed. Thank you for persevering tonight and getting us on this call.
And I want to say to everyone, please do go and check out Denali Norris in the simplicity and in beauty, in the innocence of what he offers. It's an honor to spend time with him and to just sit in his presence. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good night.